and welcome to the Promotion and Relegation Midseason Report. We are now advancing to Week 7 after both Oswego and Billings are on a bye week for Week 6. We are here to see what the season is looking like for these teams in each tier of the football pyramid. So we will start in Tier 1, starting in the West with the Pac-12. Oregon is off to a hot start, currently undefeated and the number 1 team in the nation. They have also beaten USC for the 6th time in a row, having beaten them each time they have faced off against each other. Newly promoted Kansas is also holding their own so far, having gone 2-2 so far. Utah is currently making a push for the top spot in their division. Each year it has been USC over them, but there is blood in the water and this could be their season. Those two still have to face each other, but that matchup is coming soon, and with USC's loss to Oregon already, they may just need to beat Utah to survive at the top. Now moving to the Central region and the Big 12. This conference has been a bit top heavy the last couple seasons. There are usually some really good teams at the top and bottom feeder teams just trying to stay out of relegation. Year 1 promoted team Joplin are off to a better start than they did last year, already winning 2 games, one short of their previous record in conference last year. Oklahoma has stumbled just a bit this year after going undefeated into the conference championship play last season, which is now keeping the window open for LSU, who have struggled to win more than 6 games in conference play. Moving to the Southeast region and the SEC, we might just have a new winner in the East Division with North Carolina already losing 3 games in conference. This would be the first time that they would not reach the conference championship game this series. Tennessee and Clemson are still struggling to keep up with the talent that the SEC has, even with their talented rosters that they have. Miami again have beaten Alabama for the 2nd season in a row, which currently puts them in the driver's seat to win the division again. This time Auburn is looking to have a piece of the pie as well, as newly promoted Wake Forest has started well in Tier 1, going 2-2 so far in conference. Lastly, for Tier 1, we will head to the Northeast region and the ACC. We are still yet to see the power players in this conference play more than one conference game, other than Michigan, who have won all 3 of theirs. It'll be intriguing to see how this Coastal Division goes this season after the excitement we had last year with 4 teams fighting to be the division winner. Newly promoted Miami, Ohio aren't at the bottom of the conference in this first update. That title would go to Michigan State. Now moving to the Tier 2 conferences, heading back to the West with the Mountain West. The conference Billings is a part of. Stanford have started at an unprecedented pace for this conference. They have already taken down the top 4 teams that were projected to finish at the top, beating Washington State, Alaska, BYU, and Utah State in their first 4 games. All they have left is the quote-unquote easier teams in the conference. The hiring of their new coach has been a fantastic hire from them, as well as their recruiting in the past few seasons. One of the biggest shockers in the conference has been BYU, who have lost all of their 6 conference games. They may just get a double relegation if they continue to play the way that they are. Coming from Tier 1, you would have expected better from them to start. Now moving to the Central region and the Big 10. This conference is always a highly competitive conference where we are seeing new teams at the top every season. And being at the top one season does not guarantee that you won't be facing relegation the next. UTSA is a good example of that, having an off chance of being promoted in year 1, but now are facing relegation this season just as they did last year. This conference also likes to save their conference games to the end of the season, so we will have to see which teams assert their dominance this year. Now in the Southeast with the American Conference, This conference has started to emerge similar to the Big Ten, where there is a big logjam of really good teams that are capable of being promoted year in and year out, and they wear each other out. It is common to see the team being promoted out of this conference with 2 or 3 losses. We've got some of that happening right now. Still a long season to go for this conference. Anything can happen when most teams have 2 losses already in the season. The last Tier 2 conference is up in the Northeast with the MAC. This conference, just like many others in Tier 2, save most of their conference games for the end of the season to add to the drama of the promotion battle many teams go through. Last season, Miami, Ohio were promoted after being the first team in Tier 2 to go undefeated in conference. Amazingly, there are only 2 teams that haven't lost a conference game so far, being Marshall and Central Michigan, the latter not having played a conference game yet. The chances of a repeat of last season do not look likely from this conference, with only those 2 teams being undefeated in conference play. Now we take a look at the big movers of promotion, being the Tier 3 conferences. We're going to start with the Conference USA in the West region. This division has had their team win the promotion game every single season. This year, the teams are struggling out of the gate. Air Force is the only team in this side of the conference that has beaten a team from the other region. Everyone else has lost. That's a combined 1-7 against the Central region. This could be the year that the Central region gets their team promoted to the Big Ten. Now looking at the Central region, Northern Illinois is off to a great start, having won all their games against the West region teams. They now get to show how good they are by facing off against the other undefeated in conference play teams in their region. They were the team that lost to Utah State last season in the conference championship game. They are looking to avenge that loss this season. Now moving to the last Tier 3 conference in the Sun Belt, starting with the Southeast region. Last year, Virginia made it to the conference championship game, losing to Temple. They are off to a great start, being 2-0, trying to get themselves promoted this season after sitting out their probationary season last season. The teams in this conference are still yet to play each other, so there is still a lot of season to be played. Now moving to the Northeast region, Toledo has been sitting at the top of this region each season, falling short in the conference championship game in year 1 and then falling to Temple in year 2. They are looking to finish at the top this season, finally in their 3rd try. Just like in the Southeast region, there is still a lot of season left for these teams to duke it out amongst each other. And finally, we are going to talk about Tier 4, the tier that Oswego is in. Currently, the overwhelming favorites fighting for promotion are Southern Mississippi from the Central region, Billows Falls from the Northeast region, and Middle Tennessee State from the Southeast region. Everyone else has a big gap between these 3 teams in terms of the independent points system. The Southeast and the West are the teams that have seen teams be promoted so far, but these teams are the most dominant we have seen so far. Last year's promotion team went 7-5. These teams are outperforming those numbers so far. So those are the updates for the middle of the season. I figured this would be a good time to do the first full update of the season and a quick look at the Heisman favorites, as both our teams are on the bye weeks. If you are enjoying the seasons of Billings and Oswego, please leave a like and share it with a friend. Also, if you are new and want updates of when a new video is posted, subscribe to the channel, and if you want, you can hit the notification bell. In the meantime, make sure to check out the playlists of both teams to see what progress is being made in our goals for this season. And we will see you next week with Oswego's video.